Chaldean Grammar, Chapter 16, the active state. So all the verbs to study thus far have been active in their form and meaning. That is, the subject of the verb is the doer of the action. In the following chapter, we'll study passive verbs and adjectives, where the subject of the verb or adjective is the one to whom the action is done. The active verb can also be made into an active noun, which, as studied earlier, can be used also as an adjective, as well as to be used like an active participle, killing, talking, etc. This follows several different patterns and has variations according to the state of the verb and the root letters. Let's just take a look at this to see what we're talking about. The transformation from a basic verb to a noun follows one of two possible patterns. Let's take a look at this. Pattern one, bare is to create. Baroya is creator. Bare, baroya. Valim is to cheat somebody. Valoma is a cheater. Naqish is to knock. Naqosha is a knocker. It could also be a bell, like a big church bell. Naqosha. Zade, zadoa. Fearer, somebody who's afraid. Shame, shamoa. So just take a look at this. So what you're doing is you're taking the first radical. You're putting usually, sorry, I don't know what I just did. You're taking one vowel or another, either skapa or pthaha, on the first radical, then the second radical, then o, then the third radical, and a. Again, you can memorize the rules like that, or you can just sort of get the feel. Valim, valoma, naqish, naqosha, zade, zadoa, shame, shamoa, baroya, valoma, naqosha, zadoa, shamoa, aoa. That's kind of the pattern that you want to learn. Another pattern is, instead of the o, here's what's going to happen. Shaqal, shaqala. So shaqal is to take. Shaqala is a taker, somebody who takes. Zamar, zamara. Zamar, zamara. Halakh, halacha. Ariq, araqa. Qatal, qatala. So what's the pattern here? Shaqala, zamara, halacha, araqa, qatala. A'a. So it's either a'o'a or a'a. Which one do you use if you're writing or if you want to? It does, it's not going to be that big a deal if you say shaqala instead of shaqala. People are going to understand what you're saying. It's not that one is correct or one's incorrect. There's just two different patterns. If you were to say zamora, people will understand what you're saying. Zamara is much more common, but people will understand what you're saying when you say zamora. Maybe they'll laugh at you, but it won't be that bad. Palacha, palocha. Yeah, it's okay. It's a little bit weird. It's not the most common way. Which one is which? How do you know which? It's just sort of the word that the people chose and ran with. However, I've definitely heard qatola all the time. So qatala, qatola, you'll hear either one. You'll very often hear baroya, but you'll also hear baraya as creator. Valama, I think valama would be fine. Naqasha, zada'a is perfectly valid. Shama'a, these are all. So in a certain sense, both of these grammatically will work just fine. In some cases, the people have just sort of selected one to be the more common one. You hear zamara way, 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 way more. I don't think you'll ever hear somebody say zamora. So these are the two patterns of the basic verb. Now, once you have a noun, you take a verb and you turn it into a noun. So now you have nouns. Once you have a noun, you can make them feminine or plural, like any other noun. And you can make them into adjectives. So if you take zamar, you make it zamara. So you went from verb to noun. Zamar, zamara. Zamarta, a female singer. Zamar, zamara, zamare. Zamare are singers. Zamar, zamara, tayra, zamara. Now you're going to take this noun and you can just use it as an adjective. A singing bird. Tayra is a bird. Tayra, zamara, a singing bird. So now it's being used as an adjective or a participle that's being used as an adjective, a singing bird. You can do quite a bit with these verbs. You're turning a verb into a noun, into an adjective. First week verbs also have two possible patterns. Achel, achola. Very much the same pattern here. Zadoa, achola. Amr, amora. A sayer, somebody who says. Yalep, yalopa. Probably a little more common is achel, achala. If somebody's a big eater, you'll say he's achala. Amara, a sayer. Yalapa. Yeah, you'll sort of see both. Maybe for first weeks, I mean, in these examples, these are a little bit more common, but both of them are grammatically valid. Hollow verbs allow for only one pattern. If you want to say, so here's bayiz to spill, beyaza. There's no bayoza. It's just beyaza. Nayach, neyacha. Qayim, qayama. A stander. And again, any hollow verb you can do this with, any weak verb, any other verb. It just really works across the board. These are just grammatical terms. A third weak verb, however, has two patterns again, though the first pattern is relatively rare and associated more with the scholastic dialect. So pattern one, it's kind of repeating what we had before. Third week, I already had bare baroya. I already showed you that earlier. Kare karoya. You see, no, I don't think this is even true. This sentence here associated with this scholastic dialect, it's saying that you'll see this more in like classical Syriac. I don't know. I've heard qaroya quite a bit in baroya, so maybe I would adjust this if I were to edit the book a little bit. But then again, bare baraya, qare qaraya, a reader, shate shataya. You definitely will hear shataya a lot more than like shatoya. Shataya is a drinker. This could also mean like a heavy drinker, like an alcoholic almost. Though there's another word for that, a rawaya, which means a drunkard. Verbs with four letters follow one pattern, but the feminine form takes a yod in addition to typical tau. So here's this nice word, tachmel, to think. Mtachamlana. So how do you make a noun out of a quadrilateral verb? You have this verb tachmel, mtachamlana. You have to add the meme, mtachamlana. Tarjum, mtarjmana. To tarjum is to translate. Mtarjmana is a translator. Mtarjmanitha, that's how you make the feminine. You add this hwasa, mtarjmanitha. The same thing goes for intensive verbs. Mbatal, a stop, to stop. Mbatlana, a stopper. Mbatlana is also the name for the, diagonal line above a letter that erases, that makes it a silent letter. That's called a mbatlana. As in like stop pronouncing it. Mbatal, mbatlana. Just like takhmel, mtakhmlana. Mbatal, mbatlana. And then you would say mbatlanitha if you're going to make it feminine. Mqadish, to sanctify. Mqadshana, a sanctifier. This would be, for example, the priest that is saying mass that day. He's mqadshana. Mbashil, to cook. Mbashlana, a male cook. Mbashlanitha is a female cook. Mzamr, to chant. Mzamrana, a chanter. Mzamranitha, a female chanter. And then a plural, mzamr, mzamrana, mzamrane. Plural is very easy to make. Causatives, same thing. Mabhar, to enlighten. Mabharana, an enlightener. Ma'amid, to baptize. Ma'amdana, a baptizer. So you have the root of this is amid, which is to be baptized. Ma'amid is to cause somebody to be baptized because it's the causative. So that's ma'amid, to baptize. And then if you want to say somebody who baptizes, if you want to make it into a noun, ma'amdana, and this is exactly the title given to St. John the Baptist, Yohannan ma'amdana, John the Baptizer or John the Baptist. Meshqel, to give, so to cause somebody to take. Shaqal is to take, meshqel is to give. Meshqlana, a giver. Meshqlanitha, a female giver, and so on with these. Causative verb, show some variation in their weak forms. For example, first week, lose an entire syllable. Okay. Mochel, to feed. So the root is achel, to eat. Mochel, to feed. Machlana, feeder. Molip, so yalip is to learn. Molip is to teach. You want to make it into a noun, malpana. So you're losing the alep entirely. Malpana. Molip, malpana, a girl, a female teacher, malpanitha. Hollow verbs add a yod between the two radicals. Menech, to give rest. So niacha is a hollow verb. Niacha is to rest. It's a hollow verb. Menech is to give rest. The causative of niach of menichana of menech is menichana, giver of rest. Menichana, menichane, menichanitha. Maqar, to cool. Again, qiyara is to be cold. Maqar is to cause something to be cold. Maqirana, a cooler. Memeth is to make die. So miyatha is to die. Memeth is to cause somebody to die. Memithana, the person who causes death. Menech, menichana, menichanitha. Okay. Third week verbs have the most regular of the forms. Maqre is to make read. This is also another word for teacher, right? Maqariana. Maqariana, a teacher, is somebody who makes you read. I like that definition of teacher. Maqre, so qraya is reading. Maqre is to make read. Maqariana is somebody who makes you read. Meshte, so shate is to drink. Meshte is to cause somebody to drink. Meshetiana, I guess is a nice word for a bartender. And a girl bartender, meshetianitha. Mache, to give life. Machiana, life giver. Machianitha, feminine, life giver. And again, these can all be used as adjectives. If you want to say a life-giving fruit, you would say pera machiana, and so on. So all these can also be used as adjectives. And that's it. Nice short chapter. Let's look at the vocabulary. Jawaj, juaja, to stir, as in to like shake up. Gadip, gadope, to blaspheme. Gadish, gadasha, I love this word. Gadish, when something, gadish, it happens. Something that happened, gadishle, it happened. Chawat, chwata, is to mix. Hawish hawasha is to enclose. This is related to an Arabic word, but this is authentic Aramaic, but it's related. Habis is prison. Habas is prison. So this is to enclose. Hawish hawasha. Khanaq khnaqa is to strangle. Hasib hsaba is to reckon or to sort of count out. Harr harrore is to free. Taras trasa is to become fat. I wouldn't say that about anybody if you want to be polite. Mta'al mta'ole is to play. So this is an intensive form that's always intensive. Mta'al mta'ole. So it's just always this form. Meshel meshole is to busy oneself. Pare pra'a, to pay or pay back. Pashat pshata, to stretch out. Could even do like stretch out your hand, extend your hand. Salu slawa is to crucify. Qalaq qalaqa is to move around. Okay. Rawaz rawaza is to rejoice. Shabah shaboha is to glorify. Shaghish shghasha is to shake. Losing my voice. Bushala is a meal. Bisha is an evil one, but it can also be used as an adjective. So bisha can also be an adjective, not just a noun. Barnasha is man, so literally the son of a person. So a human being, a man. Not a male. This is man in the sense of a human being. Galia is a valley. This is a beautiful word. Galia, a valley. Sanduqa is box. Amma is a nation or people. Sometimes people wrongly will say alma, like all kulla alma, like all the people. Alma doesn't mean people. Alma means a world. Amma is people or nation. Ashaya is dinner. Ushaka is a translation. We've seen the verb pashiq to translate. Palga is half. Qawmtha is somebody's height. Qiyamta is resurrection. Qasha is priest. Shuawa is neighbor. Shauta is a tribe. Shwitha is a bed. Shupra is beauty. Shechta is dirt. Shmeya is heaven. I'm sure we've seen that. Shintha is sleep. Tanina is a dragon or serpent. Some adjectives. Athraya is territorial. So Athra is a land. Athraya is landy, territorial. Btina is conceived. Bakhtaya is somebody who's feminine. So Bakhta is a female. Bakhtana or Bakhtaya. This actually should be a youth. Bakhtaya is effeminate. It's a typo. Bilya is busy or worn out. Gawanaya is universal. Garmana is bony. Honana is intellectual or smart. Honana. So mind is Hona. Honana is mindy, mindful. Hera is free. Chtaya is lower. Yaruqa is green. These are really random. Yaricha is long. Kirya is short. Mahila is weak. Atiqa is old. Pathana is rude. So this is interesting. Patha means face. Pathana means he gets in your face. Pathana, rude. Hosana is serious, like kind of serious in a mean way almost. Hosana. Pacha is bland. A person can be described as pacha too if they're really boring. Faqira is poor. This is an Arabic root. Miskina is a more Chaldean way to say poor. Okay. Do these exercises, convert 14 verbs. I don't know why I picked 14. I like 7 and multiples of 7. Make some phrases like singing bird, translate into Chaldean, write some sentences. All right. 2 more chapters. I'm not going to do chapters 19 and 20 because those are the sort of classical Syriac. So we're going to stop at chapter 18. So 2 more chapters to go. See you next time.